Hey guys, it is Monday night, the 30th of March. Out in my recording studio, out in the chicken coop. They're nesting out here they're out of the nesting boxes. We are right on the edge of winter slash spring, and nothing seems to be quite where it should be. We're not quite warm enough to, there's not quite warm enough to let them like completely outside, but it's not cold enough that things are freezing. They don't necessarily need the bedding for warmth in the chicken boxes, in the nesting boxes, but they need them in there for the cleanliness. And these guys are getting bored, and they are now starting to eat the eggs. Not cool. So, yeah. I mean, I got 8, I think, tonight, so that's pretty good. One of the things they were talking about that I was reading about was the different herbs that you can give the chickens for health reasons, and one of them is oregano. So their chicken coop smells like they are making pizza, but technically that oregano is supposed to be very good for them for, what are you doing? You lay an egg over there, I'm gonna laugh. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing. That's kind of weird. Anyway, sorry. Where was I? Oregano. Oregano is a good herb supplement for their immune system, and it helps in the production of eggs and the size of the eggs, the consistency, things like that. There's lots of other herbs you can use too. There's different things like thyme is a good one for them, and I forget what it is. I just read it. There's oregano, there's thyme, sage, calendula, I think it is, or calendula. I don't know how to say it, but it's that one. Starts with a C. But and then there's several others too that you can give them for certain things throughout the year. And I'm looking at trying to, because we're getting more, because I'm crazy. Crazy. So we're gonna be getting more chickens, and we're gonna be getting some more turkeys, and if I remember correctly, Bill ordered some guinea hens. Yay! I love guinea hens, they're so fun. But anyway, so we've got a bunch more birds coming, and we did not have a lot of success with this flock that we got, but this flock we did not pay for the Merrick's vaccine. And I don't know if that's what it was that took them all, but we started off, we had a flock of 25 chicks that they all survived in the house until it was ready to put them outside here. And then so they were 25 of the Rhode Island Red. And then we had 10 Barred Rock that we bought locally, and they were pullets, so they weren't babies, they were like toddlers. So, or teenagers, I guess, somewhere in there. But yeah, so so in all total we had 35. All of them had survived until we put them together. And with Merrick's disease, it's a disease that attacks their nervous system, and what it does is it basically causes them to become paralyzed, and then they can't move, they can't eat, they can't do anything, and then either they die on their own, or the healthy chickens decide, you know what, you need to go, and then they take care of them. That's the nature of it. Icky, but that's the nature of it. So, that being said, I'm not sure if that's what it was that took these guys, but we're down to 9. We have 5 of the Barred Rock and 4 of the Rhode Island Red. So we are getting more, I believe, of both the Rhode Island and the Barred Rock. But the turkeys are going to be slightly different than the ones that we had before, which never made it on the channel because I started it after they were gone. But you know, I just gave them fresh food, fresh water, and what do? They come over and try to eat my pants. Yeah. So anyway, so that's, I'm gonna try to do more on the adding fresh herbs, or at least the dried herbs, but adding herbs to their feed. I'm gonna throw some seed out in their run as soon as I can, as soon as the snow's gone, which we're supposed to get more on Thursday and again on Saturday, which I am not happy, but I digress. So I'm going to throw some herb seeds out and hopefully have some growing out there for them to forage on and stuff like that. So we have a lot coming up, but yeah. I tell you what, coming out here, it's one of those things that, I don't want to go out there. I gotta bring the water out. I gotta get my jacket on. I gotta put my boots on, even though they're my chicken boots. Still gotta put them on, and then I gotta go out there in the dark. Gotta bring my headlamp, But by the time I get out here and I walk in and I see these guys, I'm like, oh, my babies. Yeah. Yeah, you're my stinky ass little babies, aren't you? Yes, they all have character. They're crazy. Take after mom. Anyway, seriously? So this week is Easter week. Just had Palm Sunday yesterday. And Palm Sunday, this week from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday is probably the most significant week for me personally in the Christian year. Even more so than Christmas, I think. Christmas obviously was about the miracle that happened, with the babe in the manger and all of that stuff, and Christ being born. But to me, even more meaningful than that is what he did for us, what he gave up for us. To know as you're aging, I don't know at what age he learned that, he was the king, the Messiah. I don't know at what age he realized that he's going to be sacrificed. He was the ultimate sacrifice for us. But I look at this week, starting off with Palm Sunday, riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, very humbled, not on a war horse, not in a chariot, but no, he was just riding in on a donkey. People were out there showing their support and throwing down palms for the donkey to walk across, and throwing down their cloaks and all of that. And then just a few days later, he was arrested for doing healings and stuff in the temple on the Sabbath, and he was arrested because people didn't like what he was saying. They didn't want to believe that he was the Messiah. They'd already thought that John the Baptist was the Messiah, and look what they did to him. Yeah, so when you look at, in 1 week, he goes from entering humbly into the city to being imprisoned, to being flogged, to being beaten and then made to haul his own cross, which were not light, apparently. I don't know. I've never seen one. A real sacrificial cross, you know. But he had to haul that all the way up to top of Mount Calvary, where they strung him up on the cross, whether it was with nails or however they did it. I mean, that's the story. But you know, there's been recent research going into whether they really nailed him or what they did. But regardless, he was hung on a cross, and one of the thieves that was hung with him converted at the last minute and said, "Please take me with you." And the other thief, no, he didn't. So he did not make it. But the other thief, when Jesus passed, he took him with him. And, you know, and then 3 days later, the tomb is empty. Where did he go? You know, he spent 3 days supposedly in hell or in purgatory, and then rose to heaven to sit with his Father. I mean, all of that within 7 days. Can you imagine? I can't imagine how Jesus felt. I mean, he was human. I mean, he was God too, but he was human. You know? He had emotions, I'm sure. He had to have. He was, physically, he was human. You know? Can you imagine going into a city with your followers, the few of them that were there, that went with them, going into this city to preach God's love, to preach, you know, acceptance, forgiveness, and to have these people who you are trying to save turn on you and tell the king, "I don't care if you like him or not, I don't care if he did nothing or not, flog and kill him, crucify him, and give us the other guy who really was in there for something." He was turned on. He was forsaken. He was, yeah. But I mean, can you imagine how that feels? And then to know that this is your destiny, to know that you are going to die, you're going to be flogged, you're going to be hung on a cross in probably the most brutal way you could think of at that time. And you're going to slowly die. It's not going to be quick and easy. It's going to be slow and painful. Can you imagine? I mean, to know that that's what's going to happen. And he did it anyway. He did that for us. People that he never even met. People that he never knew. This was, you know, he did that for people who lived thousands of years after him. You know, that to me is very, very poignant. Yeah. So, you know, this week, you know, you have, of course, Palm Sunday, then you have Maundy Thursday, which was when they had the last communion. And then they have Good Friday, which I'm not entirely sure why it's called Good Friday, seeing as that's the day he died. There was a song that our group did, and it was called "It Is Finished." And that was the last words Christ spoke. It is finished. And then he died. And then Easter Sunday, they went to the garden, rolled the stone away, and the tomb was empty. How do you explain that? You know, I mean, I understand it was written 2,000 years ago by people who we presume were there, or they know someone who was there, or, you know, I mean, we're going off of faith. But that's what this is. This is all faith. Our life is built on faith. We have faith that our parents are going to take care of us. We have faith that the sun will come up tomorrow. We have faith that our vehicle is going to get us to point B tomorrow. We have faith in everything. It's not nothing is certain. So when you think about that, faith is something that we all have, and it just happens to depend on where you place it. Some people place it with things. Some people place it with other people. Some people place it with their God, whether it be, the Christian God, the Jewish God, the Muslim God, the Buddha, the Shinto, Hindu, all of that stuff. Whoever it is, the Native Americans called him the Creator. It's all the same person. It's all the same person, the same entity. It's all the same. We just have different names for them. And if you look at all the different religions out there, they all basically preach the same thing. Love, respect, forgiveness. If the world lived on those three things alone, love, respect, and forgiveness, can you imagine what this place would be? I mean, we wouldn't need heaven. We'd be on there. We'd be here. This would be heaven if people could all go with respect, love, and peace, and forgiveness. But anyway, so I want you guys to all have a fantabulous Easter week. Just remember, it's not all bunnies and eggs. Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to read a book, and I talk about it constantly, I listen to it every year between Lent and Easter. It's called Lamb. It's the Gospel according to Christ's best childhood friend, Biff. It is the most ridiculous thing, but it puts Jesus in a very human way, a very human light, his buddy Levi, that they call Biff, I mean, he goes through all of these adventures with him. You look in the Bible, from the time Jesus is like, little, to the time he's 35, there's nothing. What did he do in that time? This book walks you through what he did in that time, and it's funny, it's hysterical, and it walks you right through to the bitter end. And it's quite heartbreaking at the end, because you start to feel like, Jesus is your best friend as well. And it is something that is really magical to me, and yes, does Jesus say the F word? Yes. Does Jesus play tricks? Yes. Does he, I mean, there's a lot of things that Josh, as he's called, because he's Joshua, a lot of things that Josh does in this book that is absolutely silly, but and then there's things in there too that explain a lot of things that you kind of go, really? That's funny, because you don't think about it that way. And it's not like it's literal gospel, but it's, I don't know. I mean, it's a fictional look at what Jesus went through with his buddy Biff. You look at where they meet the disciples. They meet Maggie, or Mary of Magdalene. How did I get to know about this book? My brother, Shad. It's his fault. But I tell you what, it is. I read it. I listen to it every year because I don't have time to sit and read. But even if I did, I'd probably fall asleep. So so I listen to it while I'm driving to work or if I'm going somewhere or whatever. I listen to it every chance I get. And I tell you what, it's on Audible if you want to listen to it on there. I'm sure it's on other platforms as well. But it's called Lamb, and it's written by Christopher Moore. If I thought I could get away with it, I would read it to you guys. But, I mean, copyright and everything. So, I'm not going to do it. But I swear by that book. I really do. It brings a whole new light to it. And for people who are kind of on the fence, you know, I don't know that it would make you any more of a believer. But it makes Jesus a lot more human. A lot more relatable. Yeah. So, anyway, if you get a chance, listen to that book sometime this week if you can. It's fabulous. Once you start, you can't stop. But we're supposed to get a bunch of snow on Thursday and Saturday. I already said that. So just be safe out there. We're supposed to get ice, I think, tonight. I don't know how much, but anyway, just be safe out there. Have a great week. Love you guys. And if I don't talk to you before, happy Easter. Love you. Bye.